Hello, Facebook Live. Steve Sipress here. It's Monday, April 17th, 2017. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Another beautiful day here in paradise. And man, this United Stories just won't go away, will they? I mean, talk about piling on. First, there's we're dragging the doctor off the thing, and I'm talking about the viral stories in the public. I have a feeling that just about everybody has their own private story of mistreatment and misery and downright unbelievably bad customer service, if not from United in particular, from flying on commercial airlines in general. After all, it's commercial airlines. It's like a flying bus in the sky. And it's similar to taking a bus anywhere and then complaining, oh, there was a guy sitting next to me eating something that smelled, and there was hardly any leg room, and it was a bumpy ride, and I didn't appreciate the person in front of me put the seat down. Well, all that would happen on a bus. It's just that private flight, the cost hasn't yet caught up to private land travel, right? Pretty much lots of people, huge percentage of Americans anyway, can afford to travel by car and therefore avoid all the indignities of traveling by bus. However, when it comes to flight, it's many fewer people that can afford to fly private, which is the same thing as driving your own car, where you get to wear what you want, sit where you want, eat what you want, drink what you want, say what you want, do what you want, stretch out, enjoy it, have a great time, be treated like royalty, get to where you're going, not be bumped or dragged off the flight or handcuffed or any of this nonsense, right? So, it goes without saying that pretty much anyone who's traveled anywhere has experienced the indignity of commercial air flights. But these stories about United talk about piling on. I mean, we got the guy dragging out of the plane, and then some guy says he was handcuffed out of first class, and the scorpion fell on some guy's head out of the baggage compartment, and now some married couple comes out and says they kicked us off when we were trying to sneak up into the extra leg room, but no, we weren't trying to sneak up, and blah, blah, what? I mean, come on now. I mean, isn't there another solution to trying to sneak up into the whatever? I mean, anybody else been a kid and go to a ball game? Like, if the place is not full, then you look around, and when it gets to, second, third, inning, whatever, you're like, all right, well, let's move down. And if the people come that are in these seats, we'll, of course, move. In fact, there's plenty of other seats around, so we'll move. And if the worst thing happens is an usher would come by and say, hey, kids, let me check your tickets. You don't belong in this section. Get back up to whatever. But I don't think he would drag us out of the place. I don't think they would handcuff us. I don't think they would throw us out of the place. I mean, these airlines are fairly out of control. And I think part of it comes from the whole issue of safety and the protection of the pilot and the flight and all that. So if anyone's going to be unruly or create a kind of disturbance, then we better get them off now, because we're not going to be able to get them off without huge time, effort, and expense of landing the plane mid-flight, or God forbid turning back to the airport to let them off. So I guess that's unlike a stadium, where if you were really causing trouble and they didn't kick you out in the first inning, they can still kick you out in the second, third, fourth. So there's this whole tension on the flight about don't let somebody get up into the air that you believe is going to cause a problem. So if somebody's already been, causing a ruckus or yelling or screaming or doing whatever or threatening or something, they get them off of there. But I mean, to me, am I alone? They go way too far. The customer service, I mean, I've said for a long time, the airlines is one of the only industries that treats its customers not like the customers. They bark orders at us, and they badger us, and they boss us around, and they don't say thank you, and they don't have the courtesy. They just boss us around. Hey, move over and get up and this and that, and hey, whatever, and threaten. I mean, I've written that on my blog, and maybe I've talked about in some of these daily life videos, although I've only been doing them for a month. But I remember writing a blog post once about how the flight attendant was barking at somebody for like, hey, this bag was sticking out of the thing. She couldn't close it. I'm like, whose is this? No one was raising their hand. And she's like, well, if no one wants to come forward, then, we're just going to have to check this thing and it won't even get to your destination at the same time because it'll go on a later flight because we don't have time now to get it on this flight underneath or something like some big threat instead of like somebody help me with this. So somebody did stand up. Now I don't know if that's the person whose bag it was because they didn't say anything. And come on now, they took the bag, they turned it sideways, and it fit in. Or what? I mean, it was so ridiculous. There was so little attempt at like, hey, let me try and help you. I mean, it's always like you're wrong, we're right, and so. Here's the thing. I think that comes from two things. Number one is that safety issue. Boy, if someone's going to be unruly, we got to get them off the flight before we take off. Okay, and that makes sense. I'm sure everyone that flies appreciates the safety. I mean, I don't appreciate the absolute groping that's done at the TSA or the absurd things like we're taking your shampoo away or that kind of nonsense. Hey, Ben, great seeing you. But I do appreciate that there's safety going on, and I don't mind waiting on the line and whatever. I mean, it's a little extreme. We're confiscating the 2 inches or whatever or something. But anyway, I appreciate all that, but they take it to an extreme. But the second thing is that once companies get to a what's close or is a monopoly position, then all bets are off about customer service. And apparently United is one of like a handful of airlines that controls practically the entire airways. And in fact, in some smaller airports, and if you've traveled a lot, there's almost no options anyway. I mean, how many flights, if you're traveling out of whoever, wherever, are going somewhere, especially if you're going to another obscure place? Like, you almost automatically have to go through a hub and take a one stop. But I mean, if you say, oh, for some high and mighty reason, I'm not going to fly on United or any certain airline, you're pretty much handcuffing yourself. Like, no pun intended, but okay, there's the handcuff with United. But you're narrowing down your options for travel, and pretty much instead of like 4 choices a day to get to wherever and then connect to something, maybe you're down to 1 or 2. So it's almost like we just shake our head and bite our tongue and say, oh well, I'm going to fly on that airline even though I don't want to. It's again with the ballpark analogy. It's like being in a ballpark, and I worked for 3 years in Madison Square Garden as a high school kid. That was my high school job, and it's a captive audience. So I'd go around the seats and have soda, and they'd go, do you have Diet Coke or do you have Pepsi instead of? No, this is what I got, and that's it. Or do you have flavors of it? No, this is what we got. When we had ice cream, we had the half chocolate, half vanilla Breyers ice cream, and that's it. Do you have strawberry? No. If you want that, you're out of luck. Wait till the game's over or eat before the game starts. So once you're in here, you're captive, and we got you. Not to mention we have little selection. We have exorbitant prices, right? We were charging like triple, and sometimes people would complain. They go, oh, man, popcorn, 60 cents. Now this, I'm dating myself. It's 40 years ago, though. Hey, thanks. Hey, Faith, how are you? Thing of popcorn for 60 cents. I'm like, I can get a bag this big for 30 cents. So I'm like, not in the stadium. So it's pretty similar when you're flying that you are, and we all are, pretty much we have to succumb to the fact that we have limited choices, and they hold all the cookies. Yeah, it's in the, I'm sure it's in those, what do they say now? It's in all the fine print that we're signing or electronically when we board. They can off, they can arrest us for this, they can tell us how to dress, how to talk, how to eat, what not to say, what to say, who, ha, how to sit, how to stand, when to do this, when you can get up, when you can't. I mean, that light goes off and they go, we're landing soon, we're putting on the no seatbelt. I'm like, yeah. And now I'm getting up because I just realized I forgot to go to the men's room, and it's going to be half an hour before I go now, so I'm going now. Don't tell me the sign went up. And besides, once we're in the air, what are you going to do? Well, I shouldn't ask that now. I guess they're going to handcuff me and knock my teeth out or something. But anyway, it's those two factors, I think. Number one, it's the safety issue. That's their excuse. Oh, it's safety, so we have to get you off the flight or calm you down or kick you out or whatever. And number two is this whole monopoly issue. So what's the bottom line? In my opinion, it's what else you're going to expect from a big company with big monopoly and their big rules, and they really don't care about the little guy. You saw this from the CEO with his bogus apology, right, with the first one. Hey, or his secret email that got leaked, like he didn't think that would happen. I lived in Chicago 15 years. I know so many disgruntled United Airlines. It's kind of oxymoron. Any United Airlines employee is disgruntled, so I know plenty of them. And of course, someone's going to leak that email and go, "Oh, there's the schmo saying this. Let me leak that. I hate the guy, but I got my pension and I got my benefits, and that's pretty much all the United employees would tell me. They're like, yeah, but I've been on the job X number of years, and they get this and that, so that's the way it is. And in fact, that's a lot of 9-to-5ers, which I don't normally associate with, and hopefully you're here as a business owner, so we're not in that world. Like we call our own shots. We're entrepreneurs, we're business owners. We work when we want, where we want, type of business we wanted. That's just, we craft our own life, so we're already set apart. But anyway, let's get to the point. So when big business is doing this, the good news is, here's the good news, finally, that's the opening for you, Mr. or Mrs. or whatever pronouns are politically correct these days, or whatever third or fourth genders are, or whatever. That's your opportunity, because people, now of course airlines, it'd be pretty tough to sit here and say start your own airline. But if you could, man, can you imagine if I could start Steve's Airline and say we are going to be pleasant and we're going to do this and we're going to have lots of leg room and man, I would have a huge competitive advantage if I could survive. I know the costs are, fuel is a lot and whatever, and even though they pack the planes, they're on a very slim margin. So, forget that analogy, but let's just say in real life and business. Anytime there are big businesses, it's fantastically easy for an entrepreneur to compete, because it's likely the big business has these rules, like the bogus United rule that I think they've changed now, where, hey, the maximum we're going to offer is 800 to bump somebody, and if no one takes that, then we start hauling you off the flight and breaking your teeth. Like, what a ridiculous rule. But if that's going on in your neighborhood, if there's a business going on in your neighborhood where you just can't seem to find X, or there isn't whatever, or you got to drive 30 miles to a health food store to find such, then you can start one where you are. Or if you have an online business, same thing. You look at your competition. You say, I always say it. You make a chart, and I call it the opportunity gap marketing. So you make a chart, and you put down the column on one side all the competitors or all the people that do a certain thing. Let's say it's pizza place. You have a pizza place in your town, and you write down all the names of the pizza places down the left side of the page. Wherever. Okay, there, boom. Then you take the one across the top, and you write all the features that they have. So for pizza, it would be, award-winning pizza, great sauce, great location, lots of parking, live entertainment on Friday nights, free delivery, great ambiance, whatever you could, and you could, open the yellow pages, Google thing, go look on Google, whatever, and you'll see all the things they're talking about, the features of their business. And then what you do is you look for a gap. You look for something that's not there that you or other people or you believe would want. That's what I call the opportunity gap. You're looking for a gap in all the competition's offerings that you could slip in. So, and the reason that pizza comes to mind, and that's exactly what Tom Monahan did, 40 years ago, when he had Domino's Pizza, and he looked around his town and he said, hey, everyone's got all these different things. No one's got guaranteed delivery in half an hour or less. Nobody had that. And so he said, man, I don't need to have any kind of ambiance, no live music, no great view, no comfortable seating, no convenient location, no award-winning pizza, for crying out loud. You ever eat it? You couldn't tell the difference between the taste between the pizza and the box, right? And a lot of times people that ordered it were not in the right frame of mind to tell the difference anyway. They just wanted to eat something. And they came out only recently saying, forgot to tell you, all those years, we didn't even use cheese. It was just oil. We didn't even use real cheese. So yeah, we're saving so much money, Monahan said. I don't need great cheese. I don't need great sauce. I don't need great pizza. I don't need to have the best and the this and the ambiance and the best seating and expensive tables and chairs and tablecloths and waitresses and fancy whatever and live music. Let's get rid of all that, and let's put all the money into an automated oven system that can cook those pizzas really fast, and a whole map system. Nowadays you do a GPS and you plan the whole thing out and computerize it all, and a whole computerized ordering and delivery system. I'm sure that's what they do now in the Domino's, so we can get it there quickly, even though they no longer guarantee it. Had all those car accidents and whatever and all those lawsuits, and maybe for another video another day. But that came about as opportunity gap marketing. That pizza place was going out of business. So what are we going to do? Let's find some way to compete, even if it's not something you're doing now. That's a way to find a competitive advantage. So Monahan's at the time was not doing fresh hot pizza delivered guaranteed in 30 minutes or it's free. They were not doing that. They said no one's doing it, And I'll bet people would want that. Let's give it a shot. So that's something you can do in your business. And you can bet that the big companies, if they're not doing it, it's going to take them a while to do it. Okay, big companies are like cruise ships compared to your small business is like a speedboat. And try turning one of those cruise ships. I mean, I think that was a movie like the Speed 2 or something, right? Where that boat's coming into shore and it's slowing down, but it's a mile away from shore, and they're like, we're going to hit the shore. And they're like a mile away. They're like, hey, we cannot stop. We certainly can't turn. There's nothing we can do. We're hit. Man, if I was in a rowboat or a speedboat or a little yacht, 50-footer or something, like a mile from shore, you don't think I could turn or stop, whatever. That's you. That's a small business. We can be nimble. We can turn. We can stop. We can start doing something else. So the good news when these big companies like United has unbelievably, legendarily crappy customer service is, you know what? As a customer, it's pretty much nothing we can do about it. It is what it is. That's what they're going to do. Well, we can fly private again, like I said in the beginning. But if we're going to submit ourselves to the indignity of commercial air travel, pretty much that's what's going to happen. We're getting on a bus in the sky with nasty attendants who are going to boss us around, have all the power off over us, can kick us out, can arrest us, can do, we got to dress right, talk right, not say this, don't do that, don't put, we're going to measure everything you bring on down to the inch and down to the ounce, and if it's over 50 pounds, you're going to pay extra. All those rules are nonsense. They're all out. If you ever see that happening in your area, or if you're online and you have a national or international marketplace, whatever your area happens to be, all the competitors doing what you do, you happen to see that, opportunity city. Okay, so complain about it when you're on the customer end, but man, do something about it on the entrepreneur end and reap the benefits. So that's when crappy customer service can be a really fantastic thing. Not to mention the comedy. Right, I mean, I can't wait till tomorrow, and let's see what goes viral tomorrow about another dumb thing United did, which, by the way, another reason they can keep doing this, that whole monopoly type of thing, is their stock price just continues to go up, right? Isn't it like almost like doubled since last year I was reading or something, like, because they keep acquiring other airlines and getting more and more of that monopoly thing, and investors know what we just discussed here, that as the monopoly grows, so does the ability to have crappy customer service and crappy anything and still make money, just by virtue of being a big behemoth and commandeering the whole marketplace. So not likely, if you're watching this video, that that's you, if you're a small business owner. But if you're like the only chiropractor in town, then bully for you. I still do not suggest that you do what United does and what other monopolies and close to monopolies do and bully people around. Why? There's no rule that you have to do, and you have to be a jerk just because you can. Okay, so hopefully you're not that way, even if or when you get big enough in your area to do that. Hopefully you don't do it. Okay, but when you see it being done, thank you, Faith. But when you see it being done, I know the knee-jerk reaction. I'm not going to stop you. I'm feeling the knee-jerk reaction is, wow, that sucks. But okay. It sucks. Let's take a deep breath. Let's recognize that. And then let's spring into action and go, holy crap, wait a minute. That's opportunity. In fact, no matter what you're doing, because I don't assume anyone watching this owns an airline. Well, you own stock in an airline maybe, but you don't run an airline. So you run some kind of a smaller business. Why wait until the competitor is having crappy customer service? Why not just say right now, that's how I'm going to compete? I'm going to look at the lessons learned from United and not say, yeah, but I'm not an airline, it's got nothing to do with me, and go, wow, first of all, is there anywhere I'm doing that in my business? Am I ever barking out ridiculous rules or orders? Am I making it difficult on my website for people to opt in and get my newsletter or to find the contact information? Do they have to go to a contact us page and hunt for it down on the bottom? I mean, don't I make it really easy for people to do business with me? And when they do, don't I thank them? Do I send them a welcome gift? Do I say hello, welcome to the family, it's great to have you here? Do I give them an unannounced bonus like a week later? Do I offer them all kinds of great stuff? When they come into my business for the first time, do I treat them like royalty and tour them around and welcome them to the family? If I have a go-to-you business, when I go visit them in the house, do I bring some flowers or something for the homeowner or whoever's there and brighten up their day and go visit them because they're letting me into their home? Like, do I act as if I've got a competitive advantage if I provide great customer service? Because you do. So why wait? until you see crappy customer service from a competitor. Take the lead and watch the reaction people have in United and say, that's never going to happen to me. In fact, I'm going to have the opposite reaction. Everyone is going to spread the word virally about how cool and great I am. Okay, so that's it for today's Facebook Live video. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Faith. Thanks, anyone else watching on the replay for being here. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, and this, thanks to Faith, is why we talked about this today. So if anyone has something you want me to talk about, you know how I always try and weave something current events into an overall business or marketing lessons. I concentrate on marketing and bringing in tons of cash for clients. Please, shoot me a private message, put a comment on any of these videos, steve@stevecypress.com, Twitter @SteveCypress. Like, get a hold of me any way you want. Tell me something you want to talk about. And I can't tell you, what I'll say about it. That's up to me. But offer a topic, and I'm more than happy to make that the topic of my daily Facebook Live video. So whether you offer one or not, I will choose one, and I'll be back tomorrow with another daily Facebook Live video. I also post it to my blog at rhinodaily.com and to YouTube at Steve Sipress, and my Rhino Daily podcast, and all over the pages on Facebook, and it's all over the place. Unfortunately, if you don't like me, you can't miss it. So thanks for being here. Thanks for all those hearts and things and flying across the page. I love it. Thank you, Faith. And I will be back tomorrow. And until then, have a fantastic Monday evening. And